Let's get to the other big story of the week, which is, of course, Israel's attack on Iran. Now, as you know, Israel launched its operation against Iran's nuclear and military sites on Friday and killed a number of top army commanders and atomic scientists. So now you've had tit-for-tat attacks for a few days. Israel hit Tehran's defence ministry overnight, and Iran has been hammering Israel with missiles. The death toll at last check was 10, and at least 200 injured. The most interesting part of this for me, Jamie, was the immediate response of the United States, which was basically, this is nothing to do with us. I mean, they could not have been any clearer to Iran, please don't touch us here, which is the first time you've seen a real disconnect between the movements of Israel and the United States in this war.
But Trump did make it clear, though, that he knew that Israel were going to do the attack. And Israel, they have no other choice. They had to go in and attack the nuclear weapons the alleged nuclear system that's going on in Iran. But we do know that Israel are hoping that the Trump administration do help, in particular with that Fordo uranium site, which is in the mountain quite deep underground, and Israel don't have the military forces to be able to get through and destruct that, whereas they need the US to come in and help. So it will be interesting to see if the US do step up, because if they come along and help Israel, this will certainly be solved a lot quicker than if Israel do it on their own. But Israel's doing the work that's necessary to help peacekeeping countries like ourselves and the United States. But as I said, this is something that Israel had to do.
I think when the US says this has nothing to do with us, we're not involved in any way, it's the same way they're not involved in Guatemala, same way they're not involved in Chile, same way they're not involved in the Iranian Revolution, in the first Iranian Revolution. Of course the Americans are going to say that. They are up to their neck in it. They will back the Israelis. They've got an aircraft carrier just off the east coast of the Mediterranean. And of course they have to say that they're not actually doing it, because that would be World War III. But they knew about it. They effectively sanctioned it. There's an argument that Israel even used the cover of talks between the United States and Iran over their nuclear program as cover to strike, because the Iranians were taken completely unawares, because they thought as long as they're talking to the Americans, no one's going to attack as long as talks are ongoing. Turns out that's absolutely bollocks.
Well, they used it, Joe, because Trump said you've got 60 days, and the Israelis just counted down on the calendar. On day 62, they attacked.
But he had a meeting, Trump, the very next day. So I don't think it was the exact day. I think it was literally the very next day that Trump had a meeting.
The Americans knew about it, and if not actively giving it the green light, certainly did not talk about it.
But see, and this is the interesting thing, because everything Trump has said till now, Evelyn, is that he doesn't believe in interventionist politics in the Middle East, that you've had decades and decades of interventionist US administrations that have gone in militarily and it's achieved nothing. And he's basically said, I want to sit down at the table and talk to you, which on the face of it is what the talks with Iran are meant to be about. So it would be a total reversal of that if he were to get involved in this fight.
It does seem interesting, because his whole election campaign was using the Iraq war for basically saying that America never should have been in the Middle East, and there is absolutely no way, if I'm elected as president, that we're going to have more unnecessary wars. And look, the PR on this is really bad, and I think Trump's in a really precarious position, because, like, on one hand, he's like, yeah, I've got nothing to do with it, because then he's letting down his voters, because he said to his voters that he wouldn't do this. But then on the other hand, if he looks like he doesn't know that it was coming, he looks bad, because he's supposed to be the leader of the free world. And so I think, like, he kind of, perhaps behind the scenes, a lot was going on, which is why the decision was quickly flipped and he said he did know. But I just think, like I'm not Jewish, I'm not Iranian. I have absolutely no skin in this game. So, but from the outside, from what I'm seeing, I honestly think this is a PR disaster. If you go online, there is just such an incredible movement saying from majority of people online that America should not get involved in this. Like, I think Charlie Kirk, who's with Turning Point USA, he's a professed Zionist, and he travels to Israel quite frequently. He hosts Jewish people. He's a massive advocate. So you would assume that majority of his online followers would agree and side with his politics on those matters. And he put a poll up, and there was 500,000 people more who voted in his poll that they don't think America should be involved in this.
Well, America doesn't have to be involved. This is the thing. Iran is totally friendless. No one is coming to help it. The only state that would come to help it is Russia, and Russia's got its own problems at the moment. So you've got Putin saying, oh, there should be a ceasefire, blah, 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 but he doesn't have the material to send, so he's trying to play the politics. The Americans are funding Israel. They're providing the stuff that Israel is using to bomb the bejesus out of Iran. No other Gulf state, no one in the Arab world is going to come to Iran's aid because they hate it, because Iran's, among other things, there
are a lot of Iranians who don't like the current
and the Iranian regime itself hates the hardcore Shiite Islamist government that rules it with an iron fist and tells women that they can't show their faces in public. And so the Iranian regime, and what's left of it, because the first strikes have taken out about, half a dozen or more of the top military commanders, it's cactus, and it could actually fall. So America doesn't have to do anything. Iran is all on its lonesome. Everybody hates it.